Hi, and welcome to the second video in our 4-video series on the ARIA Framework, which is focused on increasing engagement with the features across our product. In this video, we'll talk about the reduce step. For context, there are 4 steps or 4 principles in the ARIA Framework. There's analyze, reduce, introduce, and assist. In the previous video, we talked about analyze. So in this video, we're going to talk about reduce. So let's get into it. When we're talking about reducing, there's really 3 tactics that we're focused on here. The first one is focusing on reducing the number of steps in whatever the user flow is that's associated with your feature. And I'm sure some of you have heard me say that no matter how good your user flow is, it would be even better if there were less of it. In terms of some examples of reducing steps, things we've done in our own product. Previously, if you wanted to pin something to a live board, you had to have already created that live board. So if you're in the free trial and you do your search and you like something and want to pin it to a live board, what we would tell you first is that, okay, the first step is you have to create that live board. And that distracted a lot of people and confused a lot of people. So now what we do is for every user, we create a default live board. So they don't have to worry about that step. They do a search, they get a result they like, they can pin it to a live board. So we've removed that step. Another example is on our homepage in the product, we had a 5 or 6 step tour that would walk you through the various aspects of the homepage. And we realized that the first step in the tour wasn't really adding any value. It was more just welcoming you to the tour. So we reduced that and we kept the rest of the content essentially the same. And what we saw was a 30% increase in completion rates, which is significant. The second tactic that you want to focus on is reducing the effort per step. So one way to do that is to focus on enabling people to edit something rather than asking them to create it from scratch. So for example, we do this with auto joins where you load in or connect to multiple tables and then we look at how we think those tables are joined and create those joins for you and present it to you and ask you to edit that rather than just giving you the tables and saying create it from scratch. Another thing you can do is focusing on having users click on items or tap on items versus requiring that they type everything out. So for example, autocomplete in search is a great example of this, where if I type in a keyword like or a column like segment, because I don't remember the exact name I'm looking for, we can see all these different versions and I can find the one I like and then just click on that one instead of having to remember and type out the whole name of the column. And then another example of something we could do when we are sharing live boards. Right now you have to type in the user's username. What if we were to show you the last 3 or 4 users that you shared to in a list and you could just easily click on one of those instead of having to type in the username. The notion is that you're probably going to be sharing to the same group of people frequently. So this makes it easier that in many cases you'll be able to just click on the name instead of having to type in a username. Another example of what you can do to reduce the effort is just to provide standard ways of doing things. So, for example, when we look at keyword search, a request, when we do user studies, a request we often get from users is, can I just drag the column from the column list on the left into the search bar? And we currently don't allow that. So people find that a little confusing at first. So if we were to enable that, it might make it a little easier for them. Another example is to do things in a consistent way. So right now, when you want to share something in our product, depending on where you are in the product, we provide multiple different mechanisms and approaches for sharing something, which means the users have to learn multiple different approaches. We could instead take an approach like Apple has done with iOS with this share sheet, that no matter where you're sharing from or what app you're in, the process for sharing something either to another user or to another app is always the same. So it reduces the amount of effort in terms of learning different ways of sharing. A third thing that you can do, a third tactic, is reducing the concepts that the user needs to learn, or just overall clutter. So an example that we've done here is with our free trial sign up on our web page. On the left, you can see what the page looked like before, and we had 6% conversion of the people who landed on that page who actually signed up for the trial. We just dramatically simplified it to focus on getting people to sign up and change that to a 10% conversion rate, which is a significant uplift. Another example is where right now we find that new users struggle a bit to understand what worksheets are really about. So rather than requiring that they create a worksheet before they do their first search and really get to an aha moment and start seeing the value of our product, can we delay the requirement to create a worksheet until after they've done their first search and maybe have them do it just on a single table? And then they can learn a little bit later what the worksheet is. So if you want to find out more about this step and more examples, you can click on the link below. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.